Hello, my name is Ian Dowdy. I'm from Kansas in the United States, but I'm teaching high school English at Gwangyang Baegun High, and it's located in Gwangyang-si, the southern part of South Korea. It's a beautiful campus. I love it. I feel like my students are eager to learn, and quite frankly, I feel like I won the lottery for placements here at this school. That doesn't mean it's been smooth sailing. There have been some bumps in the road, and so if you're a new teacher, I hope some of these resonate with you, and if you've been teaching for a while, I hope this is a funny reminder of how terrifying it is to be a new teacher in South Korea. Really, there's two things that I think have helped make it a little easier. One being my previous work experience. I worked in news, and you may not have worked in news, but I do think that everybody has something in their life experience or work experience that they can use in the classroom. For me, I was used to an environment where things change very quickly with little to no notice, and your mistakes are broadcast on TV for thousands of people to see. That sort of pressure cooker scenario helped with the surprises in South Korea. The second thing is more of a philosophy, and you could take this home with you if you like it. It's from the movie Secondhand Lions, and I'm gonna get the quote wrong, but it's something to the effect, he tells the kid, we're probably gonna die in the night, so if you need something, get it yourself or learn to do without. And I've lived most of my life that way, where it's great if you can get it yourself, but sometimes you just have to do without things. I've had great experiences with my co-teachers, and I think they're excellent, but that doesn't mean that all problems are solved when I go to them, or even means I should go to them. So I think it's a great philosophy to implement in your life and your work. With that being said, let's take a look at some of the examples that I've experienced, two in the classroom and one outside of the classroom. The first one was not in the physical classroom, it was online. We went online twice this semester. The first because of COVID scare in the next city, and the second the week leading up to the CSAT. During that week, I had one class that I thought I was under the false impression that they didn't have class, it was a study session for them because they were a week ahead. Naturally, when I didn't start the Zoom meeting, 5 minutes goes by, my co-teacher calls me, understandably worried, saying I needed to start class now. I said, okay, but in my head, I was thinking, what do I teach, right? And I started the lesson, I'm greeting the students. Meanwhile, I'm going through the options, and fortunately, I had the next week's lesson planned. It wasn't meant for online, but I at least had a lesson plan and I had a book. Hats off to the teachers that teach without a book. In this scenario, it was really helpful to have a skeleton to sort of lean into and guide the lesson. It turned out fine, but the real takeaway I'd say is have a backup lesson that you just have that you could do at any time. If you can't do that, try to have the next week's lesson planned, just in case. The other takeaway would be students can smell fear, and at all costs, try not to let that show. I think it takes away from the educational experience and your authority and ability to manage the classroom. The second example I'd like to talk about is one that was in the classroom and fairly recent. I had a student come up to me after class, and the student typed in a translator app and showed me. It tore my heart out when I read it. It said, I want to be like the other students. I study hard. How can I be like them? And I don't know the politically correct term or the academic term, but my co-teachers use the term special education. The student is special education. And I knew that. But just because I feel like in a lot of the educational sort of teaching tutorial or teaching material available says identify the needs, use comprehensive checks to get that assessment data back. And that's great, but there are some scenarios, like this scenario, that it still doesn't prepare you for. You don't have the answer, at least I didn't. So at the time, all I could say was do your best and don't feel bad. So my role at the moment felt more of like an encourager and providing a safe space to practice, make mistakes, and not feel bad. Building that confidence of using the English they already know. Of course, in my downtime and in the future, I want to learn more scientific-backed methodologies for successful learning. And perhaps other resources that are available, because I don't think it's, oh, this student is in special education and they have special needs. No, each student has a particular need. And each day that goes by, you don't identify it, they get exponentially behind their peers. I wish I had some like amazing takeaway for you, but I don't. So if you do, please contact me, however that's possible, and let me know. The last example, much more lighthearted. It baffles me that there's no way to dry your hands after you use the restroom. You wash your hands. I get it, there's no paper. Cut down on paper waste, awesome. But the hand dryer doesn't work in any of the restrooms. So for the first couple of weeks, I'm just walking around with wet hands after washing my hands until I wised up and I brought a hand towel to school. So if you're doing the same, there's a pro tip for you. Get a hand towel. Anyway, thanks for listening. I don't feel like my experience is all that unique, so I hope that it resonated with you. And also, if you haven't felt like your experience has been rewarding as I've felt that mine is, hang in there and find a friend. I think that my wife and I were very lucky to have a couple in the neighboring city who we connect with and a few other friends. They've been there for the tough times and they've been there for the really happy moments. So definitely find a friend. I do think things will turn around for you. And if you want to, reach out to me. My name's Ian Dowdy. I don't know how that's possible. Maybe my email will be provided. Thanks for listening.